The introduction of development plans, dynamic potential, and tweaks to training over the years have changed the player growth system in FIFA. In this video, we look at how position training and loans can maximize your player's attribute and overall growth in FIFA 23. So the first method to maximize player growth we will look at is a position training method. So we have a right midfielder here, and we're going to train him as a left midfielder. So you can do this with the right back, train him to left back, right winger, and train him to be a left winger, and vice versa. So we did it here with a couple of midfielders as well as a right back. And first you'll see Efrain Alvarez, who has a good potential. It's around the 80 mark in game. 15 goals on the season. I mean, pretty good season, but plus 9 to his overall. And so for these younger players who have a good potential, it's going to be a really big boost in those first few seasons for sure. And also a plus 8 for a right back in Julian Araujo, who is showing great potential. So this is a really good method for younger players, but also does work for players who have maybe even already hit their potential or only just a point or two away. So we're going to kind of test it out on a few players. So Rico Lewis, Miguel Almiron, Jack Harrison, Emerson, the Italian left back. And you'll see a couple players, already hit their potential. They're going to grow a point or two a season. It's not going to be huge, but it's certainly significant if you have some guys who you still want to or on the older ends, you want to still see them grow a bit and try to use them in your squad, because I know a lot of times older players can tail off a bit, but you see, of course, again, we see some of these younger players, high potential, exciting prospect. He grows by 7 points in that first season. And then what you can actually do after this, really, we're going to show it shortly, but you can actually change them to that position you train them to. So we're going to have all these guys flip. Almiron and Jack Harrison are going to go to the other side as their main position, and then you can train them again to the opposite side. So Jack Harrison grew to a 79 overall, as well as Miguel Almiron growing by a point to an 81 after a good season. So if you guys don't know, goals and assists do have a pretty big impact on player growth, and that's why you see a lot as more so dynamic potential, I would say, and that's why you see a lot of slower growth for center backs, fullbacks, CDMs, players who maybe don't get as many assists, and of course goalkeepers as well. So we're going to do this switch. You can see we switch his primary position, and then we're going to have him train back to train him to be playing the position we just switched him from. So you're just going to flip back in the development plans, and you're going to have them, obviously you have them default back to right mid, and you train them as a left mid, vice versa. We switch Rico Lewis's default position to a left back, and we switch him to the right back, and we do the same for Emerson, and we're going to train them back in the position we just changed them from. So could be a bit confusing, but you'll see the growth continues to be incredible. A plus 6 for Rico Lewis. And especially these younger guys, these older guys who've already hit their potential, you're still going to see some significant growth in them. I think that's one of the bigger aspects of using this method that you can see. Is Emerson, 80 overall, he's obviously on the older end. He's hit his potential clearly in game, but he's going to continue to grow by 2 points, and that's a pretty big deal. We'll see some good growth for Jack Harrison as well. Harrison going up by 2 points again. So this method really does work very well. It's not going to work to the same effect with these older players, but still you're going to grow by a couple overall points a year. And so it's going to make some of these older players more useful, and you're still going to be able to get them to grow quite a bit using this method. But I'm going to stop that here. I could have kept on going for multiple seasons, but I've seen plenty of players grow who in the 30s using this method as well. So I have videos in previous FIFA of it actually happening if you want to go back. It was one based on, I think, Tom Kearney, and if you want to go back, I'll put in the upper right corner to see that, because it's not changed too much the system. But now we're going to look at how loans can really be beneficial. So I found this player in the youth academy, Christian Acuna, and 58 overall. We're going to eventually see him 60 overall. You're going to see that he has a pretty good potential status. So I did start out, by doing the opposite side to get him up to the 60, and he's an exciting prospect. And now we're going to loan him out, and you're going to see some massive growth in just a few months. So this was the beginning of the season in January. Obviously, MLS has a different calendar, so that makes things a bit different. We also saw another player, Johnny Perez, who is kind of another younger player who has not amazing potential. He's around mid to upper 70s. But we're going to send Christian Acuna out on loan, 66 overall, plus 6 just in 3 months. You can see me flipping over to show that literally in 3 months he already grew by 6 points. So if you have these younger players who you're not going to be using in your squad, the main thing I have to say is with dynamic potential, if you're not playing these young high potential players, even if they're just youth academy graduate and you have them on the first team and they're not playing, they're going to have a drop in their potential status. So they're going to drop 5 points every time in their potential if you're not playing them. So you have to send them out on loan to maintain that potential status, and it's going to eventually kind of actually grow their potential status as well. So again, you saw there, just to flip back, just 6 points already in 3 months is a huge growth. And now moving on to the end of the season, so Johnny Perez, who we sent him out for the whole season on loan up to the 67 overall. So it's not an amazing boost maybe at first, but if you continue to kind of utilize, considering he's a right-footed player, right-sided player, you can keep on messing with that glitch, loan them out, and use these methods as well. So up to a 71 overall, a plus 11 in one season is a huge boost, and this is what you really have to do in FIFA this year, is send out these young players on loan. If they're not playing 85% of matches, they're going to have a drop in their potential. You can see, even just kind of looking at other players we looked at before, I was utilizing the same method of switching sides. So in the third season, it's not as big the growth. I think this is third season, so they went up by a few points now. But I could have kept it kind of doing the method as well. I didn't do the actual position change part again, but they're still growing very consistently. And so, like I said before, so one of the issues with players who don't get goals and assists is you'll see their match ratings are very low. So obviously, yeah, these guys who have good goals and assists are all going to be a point above a 7.0. And the thing is that the match rating does affect a lot with the overall growth as well, and dynamic potential. So players who have high match, so you can see players like that who are playing the midfield don't have as much goals and assists. They're going to have a lower match rating. It makes them look like awful players in reality when you look at it. But yeah, so because of that, you have to really just kind of focus on developing players with the development plans, and focus on attributes that maybe these players are weaker in, and see what you can grow when you look at the development plan. So we have this player here, Marcus Fercranis, and he has a couple areas that are pretty low. You'll see he's 58 overall, but he only has 55 slide tackle and 46 heading accuracy. His aggression's pretty low along with his jumping. So we want to utilize a development plan that focuses on improving those attributes that are a bit lower. His stand tackle is already really good. So it looks like the sweeper dev plan works best for him. So I would apply that on him. And there also, you can actually use the position kind of training method for a player as well who is maybe a center back or center mid. You could have them to change to a right back or right mid and then kind of have that big growth as well. It's something I've seen people on Reddit do also. I didn't want to do it here. It is pretty cheesy. I wouldn't do it myself. So you'll see some kind of development plan routines here as far as position training goes to help develop players. So for cams, this user cycles between right mid, center forward, and center mid, 3 to 4 months each on right mid, center forward, 2 to 3 months at center mid. You could obviously, eventually, if they train in position, switch them to right mid and then do the right mid to left mid trick. And center backs, this person develops on right back, left back, and center defense mid, and the strikers on center forward and right wing, left wing. And center mids cycles between cam, center defense mid, and left wing back, right back. So I'm going to go back and look at that. That is another way. Obviously, you could just honestly have a center mid, have them switch to a right mid, and then train them to be left mid, and you'll get some huge overall growth. Obviously, it won't be the same, some of their growth in certain positions, but you could eventually switch them back if you're just looking to have a player have a really high overall as soon as possible. So I did try to do the loan glitch. That is one thing that works now. That works on occasion, but you do have to continue constantly load in and out of it to have and just eventually see if it works. I think in this case I actually had it used for the opposite, like where it actually dropped the player's potential, because at the end I did not see a potential status. So it's a bit risky, honestly. You just have to keep loading in and out and see eventually if a player grows in their overall or potential even. So it can work for both, sometimes one the other, but you have to keep loading in and out of a save, and that's just really time consuming. But hey, if you play a lot of FIFA, maybe it's worth it for you, but to me, not my cup of tea. But with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. So really, yeah, the best methods, guys, are loans and utilizing, that position training method for right-sided players, and kind of flipping around. Like I said, if you want to be cheesy, you can even take a center mid, train them, switch them to a right mid with position training, then do that right mid, left mid thing. It could really work, honestly, for younger players if you want to grow them as soon as possible, who have good potentials. But you could also just do the loan method as well. So it's up to you guys how you want to approach it with that. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and it was helpful for you all. With that, I love you. Thank you for tuning in. Again, signing out now, and I'll catch you guys later.